Let me start by asking you something. How bad do you want it? No, really? How bad? Because here's the truth. The difference between winning and losing isn't talent. It isn't luck. It's your heart. It's your discipline. You show up when everyone else taps out. See, winning isn't some magic formula. It's a mindset. You think winners wake up every day feeling like champions? No. Winners wake up with doubts. Winners wake up with fears. But you know what? They don't let those feelings dictate their actions. They show up anyway. Winning is not a random stroke of luck or something reserved for a select few. It's not about being born with an edge or having access to some secret formula. Winning is a deliberate, intentional process, and at its core is rooted in a mindset. A mindset that says, I will not be outworked. I will not let circumstances define me. I will create my own success. The truth is, most people underestimate the power of their mindset. They focus on external factors, the resources they lack, the competition they're up against, or the challenges in their way. But the people who consistently win understand that success starts internally. It begins with the way you think, the way you perceive challenges, and the way you respond to setbacks. A winning mindset is built on belief in yourself, in your abilities, and in your potential to achieve greatness. But let me be clear, belief alone isn't enough. A winning mindset requires action. It's about backing up that belief with effort, with discipline, and with an unrelenting commitment to your goals. When you have a winning mindset, you don't see obstacles as roadblocks. You see them as opportunities to grow. Every time something doesn't go your way, you don't throw in the towel or blame the cello. Instead, you ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to get better? That shift in perspective is what separates winners from everyone else. And let's talk about effort. Because winning doesn't come to those who are half in, half out. It comes to those who are all in. It's easy to work hard when everything is going smoothly, but a winning mindset shows up in the tough moments when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when it feels like nothing is going your way. It's in those moments that winners dig deep. They find a reason to keep pushing, even when it would be easier to quit. A winning mindset also embraces failure. That might sound counterintuitive, but it's true. Winners understand that failure isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. Because every failure carries a lesson, and every lesson brings you one step closer to success. People with a winning mindset don't let fear of failure paralyze them. They take risks. They put themselves out there. They understand that the only real failure is never trying in the first place. Consistency is another cornerstone of a winning mindset. Anyone can be motivated for a day or two. But winners show up day after day, week after week, year after year. They don't let their emotions dictate their actions. They don't wait for inspiration to strike. They create their own momentum, consistent effort. That's what separates a momentary victory from sustained success. But let's be honest, cultivating a winning mindset isn't easy. It takes work, it takes self-awareness. You have to be willing to look in the mirror and ask yourself tough questions. Am I giving my best effort? Am I making excuses? Am I truly committed to my goals? Or am I just hoping for success to come my way? These are the questions that winners ask themselves, and they don't shy away from the answers. A winning mindset also means surrounding yourself with the right people. You can't win if you're constantly around negativity, doubt, and complacency. Winners seek out others who challenge them, inspire them, and push them to be better. They understand that the company you keep has a direct impact on your mindset, and they're intentional about building a circle that fuels their drive. And let's not forget about gratitude. People with a winning mindset don't take their opportunities for granted. They're grateful for every chance to grow, for every lesson learned, and for every step forward, even the small ones. Gratitude keeps them grounded. It reminds them of how far they've come and fuels their determination to keep going. So no, winning isn't luck. It's not some random stroke of fortune that happens to a lucky few. Winning is the result of hard work, resilience, and the right mindset. It's about showing up every day, putting in the effort, and refusing to give up. It's about believing in yourself, learning from your failures, and staying committed to your goals, no matter what obstacles come your way. If you want to win, it starts with a decision to adopt the mindset of a winner. A decision to stop making excuses, stop waiting for the perfect moment, start taking control of your destiny. Because the truth is, the only thing standing between you and success isn't talent or luck or resources. It's your mindset. And once you get that right, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Losing is not the end of the road. It's not a permanent label or an indication that you're incapable of success. Instead, losing is one of life's greatest teachers, a source of feedback that can guide you toward growth, improvement, eventual victory. Too often, people see losing as failure, something to fear or avoid at all costs. But when you shift your perspective, you realize that losing is not failure. It's an opportunity to refine your approach, strengthen your resolve, and build the skills necessary to win. Every loss carries a lesson. The question is, are you paying attention? When things don't go your way, it's easy to get caught up in frustration, disappointment, or even self-pity. But those emotions don't help you move forward. What helps is taking a step back and asking yourself, what can I learn from this experience? That single question has the power to transform a loss into a stepping stone. When you lose, it's not a sign that you're not good enough. It's a signal that something needs to change. Maybe your strategy wasn't right. Maybe you didn't prepare enough. Maybe there's a skill you need to develop. Whatever the case, losing provides you with invaluable feedback. It shows you where you went wrong and what you need to do differently next time. That's not failure, that's progress. Think about the most successful people in the world. None of them got to where they are without losing at some point. They faced setbacks, challenges, and even outright rejection. But what separates them from everyone else is how they respond to those losses. Instead of giving up, they used their experiences to fuel their determination. They analyzed their mistakes, adjusted their approach, and came back stronger. That's the mindset you need to adopt if you want to succeed. Losing also teaches resilience. It forces you to confront discomfort, disappointment, and sometimes even embarrassment. But in doing so, it helps you develop the mental toughness needed to persevere. Life is full of challenges, and the ability to bounce back from setbacks is a skill that will serve you well in every area. The more you lose, the more resilient you become, provided you're willing to learn from the experience. And let's talk about humility for a moment. Losing keeps you grounded. It reminds you that no matter how talented or hardworking you are, there's always room for improvement. It's easy to let success inflate your ego, but losing has a way of bringing you back to reality. That humility is essential for growth because it keeps you open to learning. If you think you already have all the answers, you'll never reach your full potential. One of the most powerful lessons losing teaches is the value of persistence. Success rarely comes on the first try. It's the result of consistent effort, even in the face of repeated setbacks. When you lose, it's tempting to walk away and convince yourself it wasn't meant to be. But winners know that the path to success is rarely a straight line. They embrace the twists, turns, and detours because they understand that persistence is what ultimately leads to victory. It's also important to recognize that losing isn't just about what happens externally, it's about how you interpret it internally. If you see a loss as a reflection of your worth, you're missing the point. A single setback doesn't define you. It's just one moment in time, one chapter in your story. What defines you is how you respond. Do you let it break you? Or do you use it as a springboard to come back stronger? Losing can also spark creativity. When things don't go as planned, it forces you to think outside the box and come up with new solutions. Some of the greatest innovations and breakthroughs have come from people who face failure but refuse to quit. They use their losses as opportunities to rethink their strategies, try new approaches, and ultimately achieve something even greater than they originally imagined. And here's the thing, the more comfortable you become with losing, the less you fear it. Fear of failure holds so many people back from pursuing their dreams. They're afraid of looking foolish, making mistakes, or falling short. But when you realize that losing isn't the end, it's just part of the journey, you free yourself from that fear. You start taking more risk, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and chasing goals that once seemed out of reach. So no, losing is not failure. Failure is refusing to try. Failure is giving up. Failure is letting fear keep you from taking action. Losing, on the other hand, is growth in disguise. It's life's way of telling you you're not there yet, but you're on your way. Every time you lose, you have a choice. You can let it defeat you, or you can let it drive you. You can wallow in disappointment, or you can rise up and keep going. The choice is yours, but remember this. Every great success story is built on a foundation of lessons learned from losing. If you embrace that truth, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Excuses are the chains that keep you stuck in the same place year after year, watching others achieve their dreams while yours remain just out of reach. They are the invisible walls you build around yourself, designed to protect your comfort zone, but in reality, trapping you in mediocrity. When you lean on excuses, you surrender your power. You trade growth for stagnation, potential for regret, and progress for complacency. The thing about excuses is that they're easy to make. I'm too tired. I don't have time. I wasn't born into the right circumstances. Sound familiar? These phrases roll off the tongue effortlessly because they absolve you of responsibility. They give you a reason to sit back and do nothing while convincing yourself that the odds were stacked against you. But let me tell you something, excuses are nothing more than stories you tell yourself to justify not taking action. Every time you make an excuse, you're reinforcing a habit of avoidance. You're training your mind to accept limitations that don't actually exist. The more you tell yourself you can't, the more you believe it. Over time, those excuses become your reality, not because they're true, but because you've allowed them to dictate your behavior. If you want to achieve anything worthwhile, the first step is recognizing this pattern and breaking free from it. Let's be honest, the real reason behind most excuses is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of stepping into the unknown. It's easier to say, I don't have time, than to admit you're afraid of what might happen if you really go all in. But here's the truth, fear is normal. It's part of being human. The difference between succeed and those who don't is that successful people feel to take action anyway. They don't let excuses hold them back because they understand that growth only happens outside of their comfort zone. Excuses also rob you of your accountability. When you blame external factors, your circumstances, your lack of resources, or other people, you're essentially saying, I have no control over my life. But that's not true. You might not be able to control everything that happens to you, but you always have control over how you respond. Excuses shift the focus away from what you can do and place it on what you can't. They keep you looking at the obstacles instead of the solutions. The time and energy spent making excuses could be used to take action. Think about it. Every moment you spend rationalizing why you can't do something is a moment you could use to figure out how to make it happen. The people who achieve their goals aren't the ones with perfect circumstances or unlimited resources. They're the ones who look at their challenges and say, how can I make this work? They choose action over excuses, solutions over problems, and effort over avoidance. Excuses will compound over time. One small excuse might not seem like a big deal in the moment, but it creates a ripple effect. Skip one workout today, and it becomes easier to skip the next. Put off starting that project this week, and suddenly a month has gone by. Each excuse builds on the last, creating a pattern of inaction that becomes harder and harder to break. Before you know it, you're stuck in a cycle of procrastination and regret, wondering where all your time went. The harsh reality is that no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you success on a silver platter or drag you out of your comfort zone. If you want something, you have to be willing to go after it, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, and even when you're scared. Excuses won't get you there, only action will. It's also important to recognize that excuses often come disguised as legitimate reasons. I don't have time might feel true when your schedule is packed, but if you really want something, you'll make time. I don't have the resources might seem valid, but plenty of people have achieved incredible things with far less. The difference is that they refuse to let their circumstances define them. They found a way to work with what they had and kept moving forward. Breaking free from excuses requires a shift in mindset. Instead of focusing on what you can't do, start focusing on what you can. Instead of seeing obstacles, start looking for opportunities. Hold yourself accountable for your actions or lack thereof, and remind yourself that every excuse you make is a step away from your goals. Ultimately, excuses are a choice. You can choose to let them control you, or you can choose to let them go. You can choose to stay stuck, or you can choose to move forward. The life you want is waiting for you on the other side of your excuses. The question is, are you willing to leave them behind? Because the moment you stop making excuses, you take back your power. You reclaim control over your life, your dreams, and your future. The choice is yours. Time is the most valuable resource you have and the most unforgiving. Unlike money, possessions, or status, time is something you can never get back once it's gone. The clock is ticking. And whether you like it or not, it doesn't pause for anyone. While you're hesitating, waiting for the perfect moment, or convincing yourself that you'll get tomorrow, the clock keeps moving. And with every passing second, opportunities slip away, dreams grow colder, and the window to take action shrinks. Most people treat time as if it's infinite. They assume there's always more of it, that they can delay their goals until they feel ready, or that someday, some magical day, they'll wake up and suddenly have the motivation, energy, and resources to pursue what they want. But someday isn't a day of the week, and waiting for the right time is just another way of saying you're not willing to commit. Here's the truth, there is no perfect moment. There is no ideal set of circumstances where everything will align perfectly for you to chase your dreams or make the changes you need to make. If you keep waiting for that, you'll spend your entire life waiting. The only moment you have is now. The clock doesn't stop while you procrastinate, overthink, or let fear hold you back. It keeps moving forward regardless of what you do or don't do. Think about it. How many times have you said, I'll start tomorrow, I'll do it next week, only to find those days came and went, and you're still in the same place? The problem isn't time. It's how you choose to use it. Every time you put something off, you're not just delaying progress, you're off. It wasn't the one resource you can never replenish. The clock ticking is a reminder that life is finite. None of us knows how much time we have left, but we often live as if we're guaranteed decades to spare. The reality is every day is a gift, and wasting it is one of the greatest mistakes you can make. Look around, there are people who would give anything for one more day, one more chance to chase their dreams or spend time with loved ones. Yet here you are letting precious moments slip away as if they don't matter. Time waits for no one. The opportunities you have today won't always be there tomorrow. The world moves on. If you don't act, someone else will. While you're sitting on the sideline, someone else is putting in the work, taking the risk, and seizing the opportunities. They're not necessarily smarter, more talented, or better equipped. They've just decided to act while you're still hesitating. You might tell yourself you're too busy or that you'll get to it when things settle down, but let's be honest, life will always be busy. There will always be distractions, challenges, and excuses to lean on. The question isn't whether you have time, it's whether you're willing to prioritize what truly matters. If something is important enough, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. The ticking clock also reminds us of the importance of urgency. Successful people understand this. They don't wait for inspiration or ideal conditions. They act with urgency because they know time is not on their side. They don't take days, weeks, or months to make decisions. They take action. They know that every day they delay is a day they'll never get back. Think about the people you admired, the ones who seem to have accomplished so much. They didn't get there by waiting for the perfect moment. They took risks, faced challenges, and made sacrifices. They understood that time is fleeting, and they made the most of every second. What are you doing with your time? Are you using it to build the life you want, or are you squandering it on distractions and procrastination? The average person spends hours each day scrolling through social media, watching TV, or doing things that don't contribute to their growth. Meanwhile, their goals and dreams remain untouched. Imagine what you could accomplish if you redirected just a fraction of that time towards something meaningful. The clock is ticking, and every moment you waste is a moment you can't get back. The things you keep putting off, starting that business, pursuing your passion, improving your health, those are the things that will define your life. Don't let them become the things you regret not doing. You don't have to wait for a new year, a new month, or even a new week to start. You can decide right now that enough is enough. You can choose to stop wasting time and start taking action. It doesn't matter if it's a small step or a giant leap. What matters is that you start moving forward. The clock doesn't care about your excuses, your fears, or your doubts. It keeps ticking no matter what. The question is, are you going to let it slip away, or are you going to make every second count? Because one day the clock will stop. And when it does, the only question that will matter is, did you use your time wisely? Your life is your responsibility. Every success, every missed opportunity, and every triumph, it all comes down to the choices you make and the actions you take. No one else can live your life for you. And no one else is accountable for the results you get. Ownership over your journey means stepping up, taking control, and refusing to play the victim in your own story. It's about recognizing that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can always control how you respond. Far too often, people fall into the trap of blaming external circumstances for their lack of progress. They point fingers at their upbringing, their environment, their bosses, their relationships, or even luck. They convince themselves that the cards were stacked against them, so they stop trying. But here's the truth. As long as you're looking outside yourself for excuses, you're giving away your power. Ownership means taking that power back and understanding that you have the ability to shape your future, regardless of where you started or what you've been through. Owning your journey starts with self-awareness. You have to be willing to take a hard look at yourself and ask, am I doing everything I can to move forward? Am I putting in the effort? Or am I letting fear, doubt, or laziness hold me back? This kind of honesty isn't easy. It forces you to confront uncomfortable truths about your habits, your mindset, and your actions or lack thereof. But it's necessary if you want to make real progress. When you take ownership, you stop making excuses and start finding a solution. Instead of saying, I can't because of this, you ask, how can I work around this? Instead of dwelling on what you don't have, you focus on what you can do with what you have. This shift in perspective is powerful because it puts you in the driver's seat. You stop waiting for someone or something to rescue you, and you start creating your own opportunities. Taking ownership also means accepting that the journey won't always be smooth. There will be setbacks, failures, and moments when it feels like everything is going wrong. But when you truly own your journey, you don't let those moments define you. You don't throw up your hands and say, this is too hard. Instead, you dig deeper. You learn from your mistakes, adjust your approach, and keep moving forward. Every obstacle becomes a stepping stone, and every failure becomes a lesson that brings you closer to success. Another key aspect of ownership is discipline. It's not enough to set goals and dream big. You have to back it up with consistent action. Discipline means doing the work even when you don't feel like it, even when it's inconvenient, and even when progress seems slow. It's about holding yourself accountable and refusing to let excuses derail your efforts. Ownership and discipline go hand in hand because taking control of your journey requires a daily commitment to stay on track. Ownership also means letting go of the need for external validation. When you own your journey, you're not living for the approval of others. You're not waiting for someone to tell you that you're good enough or that you're on the right path. You define your own success and measure it against your own standards, not anyone else's. This mindset frees you from comparison and allows you to focus on what truly matters to you. One of the most empowering aspects of ownership is that it gives you the freedom to rewrite your story. No matter what has happened in the past, you have the ability to chart a new course. You're not defined by your mistakes, your failures, or the opinions of others. Ownership means recognizing that every day is an opportunity to start fresh and make choices that align with the life we want to create. Of course, taking ownership isn't easy. It requires courage, humility, and a willingness to take responsibility for both your successes and your failures. It means acknowledging when you've fallen short and committing to doing better. It's not about being perfect, it's about being accountable. When you take ownership of your journey, you reclaim your power. You stop feeling like life is happening to you and start realizing that life is happening for you. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to grow. Every setback becomes a chance to learn, and every success becomes a reminder of what's possible when you take control. The road to ownership isn't always straightforward, and it's not something you achieve overnight. It's a daily practice, a choice you make again and again to take responsibility for your actions, your mindset, and your future. But the rewards are worth it. When you own your journey, you unlock your true potential. You realize that you're capable of far more than you ever imagined, and you gain the confidence to chase your dreams without hesitation. So stop waiting for someone to hand you the life you want. Stop blaming circumstances for where you are. Take ownership of your journey and watch how everything changes, because when you take control of your life, there's no limit to what you can achieve. There comes a moment in everyone's life when they have to make a choice, a bold, undeniable, life-changing choice to step into the driver's seat and take control. That moment is when you decide that it's your turn. It's your turn to rise above your fears, to silence the doubts that have been holding you back, and to claim the life was won as wanted. But here's the truth. No one is going to give you permission to step up. No one is going to hand you a golden ticket and say, now is your time. That decision is yours to make. And it starts with a commitment to yourself. Deciding that it's your turn is not a casual choice. It's a declaration. It's a moment where you draw a line in the sand and say, enough is enough. Enough procrastination. Enough excuses. Enough playing small. It's about acknowledging that you are ready to stop waiting for the perfect time, the perfect conditions, or someone else's approval. You recognize that the only person who can change your life is you, and the time to act is now. Too often, people spend their lives waiting for inspiration, waiting for confidence, waiting for some external event to signal that it's finally okay to move forward. But the problem with waiting is that it puts your destiny in the hands of circumstances you can't control. You give away your power every time you tell yourself, I'll start when things are easy, or I'll go for it when I feel ready. The truth is, you may never feel fully ready, and things may never be perfectly easy. That's why you have to decide right now that it's your turn. This decision doesn't come without fear. In fact, fear will likely be your first companion when you make this choice. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown don't all try to convince you to stay in your comfort zone. But here's the thing, fear is not a stop sign. It's a signal that you're stepping into new territory, and that's exactly where you need to be if you want to grow. Deciding that it's your turn means feeling the fear and moving forward anyway, because you know that what's on the other side is worth it. When you decide it's your turn, you're making a commitment to yourself that goes beyond words. You're choosing to take action even when it's hard, inconvenient, or uncomfortable. You're choosing to prioritize your goals and dreams over distractions and excuses. This level of commitment requires discipline because the path to success isn't always straightforward. There will be challenges, setbacks, and moments when it feels like you're not making progress. But when you've truly decided that it's your turn, you don't let those obstacles stop you. You keep going because you've made a promise to yourself that you're not willing to break. Making this decision also means owning your choices. You stop blaming your circumstances, your past, or other people for where you are in life. Instead, you take full responsibility for your actions and their outcomes. This ownership is empowering because it puts you back in control. You realize that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can always control how you respond. And by choosing to respond with action, determination, and resilience, you take another step closer to the life you want. Deciding that it's your turn also means letting go of the need for perfection. It's not about having all the answers or knowing exactly how everything will unfold. It's about trusting yourself enough to take the first step, even when the path ahead isn't entirely clear. Progress is messy and success is rarely a straight line, but you can't let the fear of imperfection keep you from starting. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a step closer to your goal. And let's talk about courage. When you decide that it's your turn, you're choosing to stand up in a world that might not always support you. You're choosing to believe in yourself, even when others doubt you. This kind of courage doesn't mean you're never afraid. It means you move forward despite the fear. It's the kind of courage that inspires others because when they see you chasing your dreams, they realize they can do the same. Finally, deciding that it's your turn means recognizing that you are worthy of success, worthy of happiness, worthy of the life you've been dreaming of. Too often people hold themselves back because they don't believe they deserve it, but you do. You were not put on this earth to live a small, limited life. You were meant to grow, to achieve, and to make an impact. Deciding that it's your turn is about claiming that worthiness and refusing to settle for anything less. This decision isn't something you make once and forget about. It's a choice you make every day and every moment with every action you take. It's about showing up for yourself, even when it's hard, and refusing to let anything stand in your way. Because when you decide that it's your turn, you step into your power, you take control of your story, and you set yourself on a path to a life that's not just lived, but truly fulfilled. The clock is ticking. The opportunity is waiting. This turn, make it count.